Here are my predictions for the VCT America's kickoff event starting this weekend. All right, let's do these pick'ems. Okay, so the groups are so lopsided. It's insane, by the way, guys. Like, it's so ridiculous how this all played out. Like, look at this. Group A has NRG, Furia, Cloud9, and MIBR. I guess, like, just to get everyone, like, up to speed and everything, we can just show everyone, like, you know, some of the rosters. So, NRG, obviously, Giga stacked. Ethan, Crashies, Victor, Marv, Doom, and 1. I would say it's most people's pick to win Americas. Apparently, Ethan's going to IGL the team. You know, Marv obviously has experience IGLing too. Ethan's played under so many good IGLs. Picking up Vladcore 2 is low-key insane. Like, this guy on Twitter is constantly posting insane lineups that he creates. He is very into this kind of shit, you know, like, and he will help the team significantly. So I think it's a great pickup. This team is in a really good spot to succeed. So I think it'd be very hard for me to, you know, go against NRG in this game. Furia made a couple changes, bring in Conan for good. Havoc joins the team, which was like the big prospect that everyone thought would take Ospas's spot. Well, everyone. That's what Slasher reported in that initial report. This guy, Havoc, is like a talent in the scene. He hasn't done too great in the off season, but I don't think there's any chance Furia beats NRG in this opener. I'm not really taking into account like what their off season looked like, you know what I mean? All right, let's see this next game. Cloud9 versus MIBR. Cloud9 has had a very weird off season. Super up and down. I mean, this looks like it's very down, but there was so much hope early on, and that really faded. For MIBR, it's kind of like, is this team gonna be like more of the same as last season? I don't know if they've made like the key changes to win a shit ton of games. Now, obviously, there's a lot of like internal problems within MIBR last season. They might have solved that, but I don't know. This is definitely a trap game for Cloud9. I feel like my NA bias is having me pick Cloud9 here. But man, if Cloud9 loses this, I think people will be really bedge on C9 this year. They need to win that game. Cloud9 versus NRG. I just think NRG has more skill. This early into the season, Chet will have some cool game plans. And after one best of 3, can't really read it, truthfully. Like, Cloud9 will struggle to read it. So NRG's qualifying there. Furia versus MIBR. Too much skill on Furia versus that MIBR roster that we just looked at. I don't know. I think like you look at this lineup and then you potentially look at Furia's lineup. Furia has like such star players. Khalil is so good. That guy is mechanically goated, and obviously MW0 is a star player. I think the key piece here is Havoc and like how well does he play this season, because in the off, like, look at these stats. These stats aren't that great. I personally think by the time the season starts, he'll probably feel a lot more comfy, because I'm gonna go Furia. Cloud9 versus Furia is a close one, I think. Didn't they play each other, actually? Yeah, they did. Yeah. Hard to argue with this. They lost here, and then they won the rematch. Here's the thing. I think if these teams met in like the first round right here, I would pick Cloud9. I think like Vanity would have like a mean game plan with Immy. They would look really good. I think in the lowers, when like Cloud9 shows stuff in this series and shows stuff in this series, it'll be a little bit easier for Furia to read, which is exactly what happened in this rematch. They lost the first time, and then they won the rematch because they probably had some footage. I'm going to say Furia. It's like an upset pick there. F that. This is insane. Group B is so ridiculous. So if I had to like rank the Americas teams, it's like NRG and Leviathan like at the top for me. And Sentinel's like maybe right outside of that. It's like these are my 3 top. And I think like Loud will be like in this mix too. Even without Ospas, I think Loud will do something. Like they will create a meta just like they did with Harbor Viper. They'll make something work. I promise. Like Loud always makes shit work. They'll do stuff a little bit different than everyone else and it'll work. They'll just win. But they won't be the best. I don't think they'll be the best. With that said, like this is the most ridiculous group ever. Even if you were to put NRG as like the best team in the league, that's a big stretch. We haven't seen them play yet. It's a big fucking stretch if you were to say they were the best. I think you would say like 2 through 5 right here, or at very least close. And then you probably have Furia and like Cloud9 up in there maybe. All right, Loud versus Sentinels. So we haven't seen, I don't think we've seen any of Sentinels, or I'm sorry, any of Loud in the off season. We don't really know what they're going to look like. We have an idea what Sentinel's going to look like. They look really good in this offseason. I'm a real believer in them right now. Look at these matches this offseason. This is totally different than last year. They're the only team in the world beating Oxygen. I feel like I'm in the upside down. I'm picking Sentinels for sure. Like, I don't even really need to think about it, actually. Like, it's... That's insane. There's no way they're going to win that. There's no way. There's no way they're going to win with what I just said. Leviathan versus 100 Thieves. My boys did not look good in that Ludwig Tarek event. I'm not going to lie. I know they didn't have a lot of practice, but I just see them struggling. Like, I just see them struggling against Ospas. Unless Cryo has, like, a ridiculous performance, I don't think there's any chance. I don't think there's any chance, actually. This is, like, potentially the second best team in the league versus, like, you know, like a top 5 team in the league. And I just feel like it's so lopsided towards Leviathan. I think it's possible that 100 Thieves wins. It's just like nothing I saw in this event makes me like super optimistic. You know, like I'm not super optimistic. Leviathan versus Sentinels. Probably like some of the best teams so far we've seen in the offseason. I mean, Sentinels, their body of work is way greater than Leviathan's, but I mean, both have looked pretty good. We haven't seen the Calm Leviathan. This is before they picked up Calm, and they still 3-0'd Furia. I'm trusting Leviathan here, even though I haven't seen Sentinels lose in a long time. Bro, last year was so weird with this Leviathan team. It was so weird. I don't feel like Taco played a very good Jet, obviously, all season, and it was very important to play a good Jet last season in the meta. So bringing in Ospas is like the best possible solution. Changing the coach to like literally change the mentality of the team. Bringing in Calm, like they made all the right moves. You can say the same thing for Sentinel though. Like they didn't make all of the moves, which is the right move for Sentinels. Hard game. I think no matter what, I'm predicting both of these teams to get out of this group. So I'm going to pick Leviathan here. I'm going to tell you I'm going to end up picking Sentinels here. So this game doesn't even really matter. Kind of want the Clout matchup though, but I just don't feel like we're going to get it. Doesn't Ospas Loud beat 100 Thieves? This is a really hard game to choose right now because I'm expecting 100 Thieves to look a lot better than the Ludwig Tarek Invitational, but I have no idea what Loud's going to look like. It's just like blind faith that I have in this team, in like the Brazilian scene. But then it's like, they don't have Ospas and he carried them through so many important moments last season. Like they're gonna need bigger performances out of like Tui's and Kanzine this year, for sure. I think 100 Thieves wins this game, guys. I'm gonna take Sentinels there. I'm interested to see what Loud brings. I would not be surprised at all if I'm way off the mark on Loud here in this bracket. I would not be surprised at all. I feel like I'm way off the mark right now, which is probably actually a good sign, because the more confident I am on these things, the worse it usually ends up. Crew versus G2. The sentiment around Crew is pretty negative, even after the LCQ run. So they bring in Shy from Leviathan. They bring in MTA. They keep Melser. They keep Kesnet, and they keep Klaus. It's like a good trio. They made some good moves, no? I don't know why people are like down on them. These games back here, like these games were so close. Bro, they're the most Crew losses ever. Like these guys just lose by like 1 round every time they play. I think Crew is going to be fucking pretty good, but I do think this team is going to be quite good too. First stage game for G2. This might be one of those ones where it's just like that first stage game, Kesnet just comes out there and murders them, you know? This is like, I feel like this is a Kesnet type game. EG, man. E-G. I'm sorry, guys. I can't believe in this. I can't believe in this, and here's my reasoning. One, Nature just played with 100 Thieves in this offseason, and I didn't like what I saw. I didn't think they looked very organized. I feel pretty good about Derek on the team. I think he's a great voice on the team. I don't know much about Superman, but Poised was adamant about bringing him along when I was trying to get Poised to join 100 Thieves. And I've watched Superman a lot over the years. I know he's a great player. I just don't know what he's like in a team. I just think there's going to be some growing pains. I mean, like, Apod coming out of the Challengers team, Jog the only one returning, like, this is a rough project. I'm going Crew. This is insane. And then you get, like, G2 versus EG here in lowers, and I think G2 would clear them. I'm like, the guard surely clears this version of EG. Oops, lock it in. Lock that shit in. This is it. Look at me, that's not too much bias, right? Like only 3 NA teams? Yeah, that's not bad for me. It is gonna be a super wild tournament.